6 ingredient, easy, high protein, chili macaroni and cheese. That's what we're gonna make today for lunch. It's gonna come out to 4 to 5 servings, about 300, and actually let's look at the nutrition here. Let me make sure I get this right. Per serving, this is gonna come out to be about 366 calories for a 1/4 serving of this dish. And it is going to be 49% protein. We're gonna have a little over 42 grams of protein per serving, only 25.5 grams of net carbohydrate per serving. So it's gonna be an amazing chili macaroni and cheese recipe that is very high protein, relatively low calorie, low carb, and super flavorful. So, how are we gonna do it? I'm gonna talk through this, and then I'm just gonna take you guys with me as I make it, show you how easy this is, and also just kind of give you guys a little bit of a window into how I think in terms of making recipes that taste really, really good, but are high protein, but low calorie, so that makes them really good for not just weight loss, but for weight maintenance as well. So I'm gonna talk through all of these ingredients and let you know why I chose these specific ingredients in order to get the protein content so high in this recipe and to keep the calorie content so low. So let's start off with the macaronis. So there's a couple of macaronis that you could use for this recipe. I'm gonna show you guys both of them. So the first one that you could use is this newer brand called Goodles. And Goodles, there's a bunch of different flavors. This is the Cheddar Mac, which is basically like it's almost like a Kraft macaroni and cheese. It's cheddar elbows, basically. And so for one serving of this, just the dry mix, is about 260 calories, but it has 14 grams of protein in it. So it's a higher protein macaroni than if you were to just go buy Kraft macaroni and cheese, which is nice. It is not, let's see here. I do not believe it is gluten-free, but it tastes really good. You make it just like any other macaroni and cheese, but it's a little bit higher in protein, lower in calorie than your standard macaroni and cheese. So that's a good place to start with. So Goodles, great, higher protein mac to start with. I'm actually today going to be using this brand, which is Banza. And I'm gonna use the Banza cheddar elbows for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is exactly the same calories per serving, at 260 calories per serving, and there's 2 servings, so this whole box is like 520 calories. It has more protein at 16 grams per protein per serving, but it's gluten-free. And so I'm gonna use this because it tastes virtually identical to the Goodles macaroni and cheese, but it's gluten-free. So for those of my friends out there who are gluten-free, you can still make this recipe and it's gonna taste really, really good, okay? So we're gonna use the Banza macaroni today. Get rid of that. All right, next is going to be the ground beef. So for the ground beef, we're going to use 96% lean, extra lean ground beef. Now, why am I using 96% lean specifically? Well, a lot of you probably don't know this, but if you were to actually look up in MyFitnessPal, the difference between 80-20, 80% lean ground beef and 90% lean ground beef and 96% lean ground beef, the difference is like massive in how many calories are in each serving and how much protein versus fat there is per serving. I'll throw something up on the screen here just for you to see the comparison. And so the reason we're using 96% lean is because we wanna get the protein content as high as possible and keep the fat and the calorie content as low as possible so that we can have a really good tasting dish that is great for weight loss and weight maintenance. So we're gonna use 1 pound of 96% lean ground beef. By the way, all of this stuff has been sourced from Walmart. So it's super easy to go out and find. You don't have to use anything crazy super special here, okay? Next, we are going to use 1 cup of this Great Value brand fat-free shredded cheddar cheese. Now, again, why this shredded cheddar cheese versus a normal shredded cheddar or even a low fat? Why fat-free? Well, first of all, the fat-free shredded cheddar cheeses, especially the Great Value brand, I think Kraft also makes a fat-free shredded cheddar and a fat-free shredded mozzarella. What people don't understand about these cheeses is they still melt. They're gooey, they're cheesy, they're great, but these cheeses are almost all protein. If you look at the macronutrients on this, 1/4 cup of this cheese is 45 calories. 36 out of 45 of those calories is coming from protein. So at least 75% of this cheese, if not higher, is coming from protein. So for the first time, when we add cheese to a recipe, we're actually adding mostly protein to the recipe when we use this cheese. Whereas if we use a regular shredded cheese, or if we use even a low fat or part skim cheddar cheese, there's still a lot more fat calories in that and a lot less protein versus this cheese. So again, fat-free shredded cheddar, fat-free shredded mozzarella, awesome for being able to make really good recipes that taste like a cheat, but are super high protein. So we're gonna use that. Next, we are going to use 1 packet of just a regular McCormick's original chili seasoning. Just using the whole packet to season that with the ground beef. We're also gonna use 1 onion, right? And it doesn't matter if you use onion or not. I just like the taste that the onion and the bulk that the onion adds to this chili mac, but could you make it without the onion? Absolutely. Totally up to you and your taste preferences. And then lastly, we're also going to use 1 can of Rotel diced tomatoes and green chilies as well. All right, so to get started, the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to spray our skillet here to cook the ground beef and the onion in, and then we're gonna grab some water from the tap over here for our macaroni. I'll just be right back. All right, so we've got our water for our macaroni. I'm just gonna turn this burner on and get this heating up. Gotta bring that to a boil. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this skillet onto just kind of a medium low heat, just to get it heating up while I cut my onion. And then I'm gonna saute and brown the onion and the ground beef over here in this skillet while I'm cooking the macaroni. Let me grab a knife real quick. That'll do. All right, so just gonna cut this onion up real quick, get it all chopped up, and then I'm gonna throw the ground beef and the onion into that skillet, hot skillet together. By the way, guys, I procrastinate when it comes to making YouTube videos because I'm a perfectionist and I feel like, you know, there has to be all these perfect angles and all that stuff. So this is literally me making an agreement with myself to just use 1 camera angle and to just make the dang video for you guys. Because I feel like, or at least I hope, that you guys care way less about having a perfect video production, and you'd rather just spend time, I'm hoping you just wanna spend time with me and learn to make a really awesome tasting recipe that's super high in protein and all that other good jazz. So forgive me for this not being a perfectly produced cooking video with a really crappy angle and a really kind of a crappy kitchen for cooking. All right, so I'm gonna do some quick chopping here. I'll even let you guys, I'm gonna use my Meta glasses here and let you guys see the first person, even though the camera in these glasses is not very good, especially in low light. But it is kind of cool to be able to see first person some of this stuff that I am doing. So I'm just gonna cut up the onion like this. I like to slice 3 or 4 times one way and then flip it around and slice 2 or 3 times the other way. And then voila. All right, I'm gonna turn the heat up over here now on my skillet. And we're gonna get the onion going on 1/2 of my skillet. And we're gonna get the hamburger, the 96% lean ground burger going on the other 1/2 of the skillet. There we go. All right. So that is going to heat up. It's gonna start sizzling. And then we're just gonna keep going down this road while this water is getting up to boil. Mash up this hamburger. It's already starting to sizzle a little bit. So all total, if you time all of this right, this dish only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make if you time it just right. Realistically, it's probably closer to 15 minutes, just because it takes a couple of minutes for the pot full of water to come to a boil. But the rest of this is all gonna happen relatively quickly, to be honest. So, oopsie, there we go. All right. So again, we've got onion going in one side here. We've got hamburger in the other side, and we're just gonna cook this down and get it browned. And then we'll add in the chili seasoning and the tomatoes, diced tomatoes and chilies. We're just gonna kind of do this piece by piece here. All right, we're gonna let that sizzle for a minute. All right, this water looks like it's pretty well warm, so we're gonna tear this box open, pull out the cheese packet, and pour that macaroni in there. And we're just gonna give that a quick stir there. My glasses will only record 3 minutes at a time. So we'll hit record again. All right, we're gonna continue to let this basically boil for 8 minutes. So I've got a timer going right there for that. And then while that's boiling, I'm basically just going to continue to work this burger and onion mixture over here until it is browned and mixed together and everything looks good there. So something you guys may come to know about me is that I'm kind of a geek when it comes to making recipes that feel like a cheat meal, but they're actually not a cheat meal. When you think about it from a caloric standpoint, from a protein content standpoint, that you could eat the recipe and feel like you're cheating, feel like, oh, there's no way I should be able to eat this and lose weight, but that you actually can. And it's actually pretty much one of the core fundamentals that my entire weight loss coaching program is built off of. We really focus on teaching people how to make recipes for their favorite foods, so that they can have food that they really, really thoroughly enjoy. Because I feel like you've gotta thoroughly enjoy your food if you're going to be able to lose weight and actually keep it off, right? You can't just expect that you're going to eat, diet food, chicken and broccoli and rice for the rest of your life and expect that you're going to, ever actually get all the way to your weight loss goal, but let alone be able to keep it off for the long term. So I really try to make recipes that both, I need to make sure this doesn't boil over here, but I try to make recipes that both taste amazing and require very little time and effort to make, 10 to 15 minutes or less. And if I can do those two things, then I've knocked down two of the biggest barriers to myself or anybody else that I've ever worked with as a client to losing weight and keeping it off. And that is that they either don't like their food that is healthy, or it just takes way too much dang time to make. A lot of recipes and cookbooks and, let me restart my camera here. A lot of recipes and cookbooks out there that are healthy, like Whole30 recipes and all that stuff. You know, they are healthy because they're mostly whole foods based and they're, we're gonna boil over here. They're mostly whole foods based, but the problem is they take like 20, 25 ingredients and seasonings per recipe. They take 30 to 40 minutes to make one meal. And for the average person, the average mom, dad, like anybody really out there that's trying to, change their lifestyle, that works a job, that raises a family, especially if you have kids who are in, sports or like band or choir or musicals or just all the stuff that we do in life. It's just really hard for a normal person to be able to spend 30 or 40 minutes making all their meals. Or it's even worse if you're trying to go to the store and buy 20 different ingredients to make one recipe, and then you turn around and sure, there are maybe like, 10 other recipes in the cookbook that you think look appetizing, but those 10 recipes, none of them use most of the same ingredients. So you end up buying all these ingredients that just end up kind of like cluttering up your kitchen and your cabinets and everything, and they don't even, and it becomes unrealistic. You're not gonna take the time to make that stuff. You're spending all this money, you're wasting a bunch of ingredients, and it's just not sustainable. Does it taste good? Probably, but I don't know, does it taste as good as chili macaroni and cheese? Honestly, probably not, right? So, all right, so we're doing pretty good. We got about 3 minutes to go on our macaroni. The hamburger and the onions are pretty well browned, so I'm gonna turn that heat down, and we're gonna start to put our chili seasoning in here. And I'm gonna need just a little bit of water. So I'm gonna grab some water from the tap, 1 second. Ooh, that's a fancy glass. That's what I'm talking about. Don't mind my entire sink worth of dishes. All right, so we got some water here. We're gonna take our chili seasoning and we're gonna spread this out over here. There we go. Awesome. And then we're just gonna put a little bit of water in here. There we go. And turn the heat back up a little bit. And we're just gonna mix all this together. There we go. Putting the chili in the chili mac. Now I can also go ahead and get the Rotel opened up and get that thrown in there as well. Gotta break out the can opener for this. Sorry guys, my kitchen sucks for making cooking videos. This is probably the worst cooking video anybody's ever seen, but you know what? We're doing it. We're just going for it. We're throwing all the excuses to the side. We're making very imperfect content, but it's gonna taste really good when we're done. So there's that. I don't want a bunch of liquid in here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of water in here. So I'm basically just gonna go over and I'm gonna drain this water out so that I'm adding in the tomatoes and the chilies, but I'm not adding a ton of water to this. I'll be right back. All right, so now we can plop the tomatoes and the chilies in. And then our timer just went off on our macaroni, so it's pretty much good to go now as well. I will drain that here momentarily, just as soon as I mix this up here. Oh yeah, this is gonna be so good. Now that is looking amazing. That's pretty much ready for the macaroni. So basically, I'm just gonna go strain this macaroni real quick, and then we're gonna throw it right over here in the skillet, add the shredded cheese, mix it up, get it melting, and we're good. Whew, foggy. That's a lot of steam. All strained up. I'm gonna add in a little bit of water, just so that when I add the cheese mix in, it'll have something to mix with. Macaroni, strained, a little bit of water in there, and then now we're just going to open up the cheese flavoring packet, make the sauce, throw this in here. There we go. Oh yeah. Looks like macaroni and cheese. Okay. So that looks perfect. That's as good as that's gonna get. I'm gonna turn the heat off there. And now we're just gonna pour this macaroni and cheese in here. And then we're just gonna mix all this stuff together and get ready to throw on the shredded cheddar cheese, which would be the last thing that we're gonna throw in here. So you can already start to see this is looking really good, really good. All right, so that's pretty well mixed up. And now we're ready to add in the shredded cheddar. Now I normally just do a cup of the shredded fat-free cheddar cheese. And that's about what I have left in this bag. So I'm going to finish off this bag and just pour that right on top. That's actually a little bit less than a cup, but it's the last that I have. I'm out of cheese, so it's gonna have to do. All right. So now that that has been added on, I'm just gonna kind of spread this around and just work it in. And that's gonna start to melt and get all gooey. And this is bringing the protein content up even higher than it was before. Man, I gotta keep restarting my glasses for another angle here. Awesome. So look at that. Like it's like getting super gooey and nice and cheesy. And that is it, my friends. That is an entire skillet. And I don't know, it took longer because I was explaining it, but again, you can make this in like 10 to 15 minutes depending on how your timing skills are. But super awesome. Whole skillet full. Again, you get 4 even servings out of this skillet. That be about 366-ish calories per quarter of the skillet serving, which is perfect. I try to get my meals, my meal serving sizes to be around 400 calories or a little less than that per serving when I'm making a recipe like this. And that's just because if I'm trying to lose weight, I tend to lose weight around, 1,500, 1,600 calories. And so if I'm doing 3 meal servings a day at around 400 calories, plus a couple of snacks at 200 calories, I'm right in that 15 to 1,600 calorie range. Same thing works for like all of our clients. We virtually all of our clients use the same benchmark and they all get great results. So quarter of a skillet, about 360 calories. Sometimes what I'll do is I will pair a serving of this with a side. So one of my favorite sides is actually ranch toast. Do you guys want to see how to make ranch toast? I'll make ranch toast. Let me show you. So let me grab some bread here. So this is a keto bread. This is my favorite bread right here. This is Lewis Bakery, their Healthy Life Keto bread. And so this bread it's Hawaiian bread, so it tastes great. It's only 35 calories per slice. So 2 slices of this would be 70 calories, plus my ranch seasoning, which is negligible calories. And so this is gonna make a super awesome toast. Why? Because there's actually 0 grams of net carbohydrate in this bread. So if there's 0 grams of net carbohydrate, but there's 5 grams of protein per slice. So that means that of the 35 calories per slice of this bread, 20 of those calories are coming from protein. So this bread is about 66% protein. So I'm adding protein even just by eating the right bread, which is pretty awesome. So basically, what I'm gonna do here real quick is I'm just going to make some ranch toast. So I'm gonna open up this bread here. I'm gonna grab out 2 slices of bread. Let's grab a handy dandy toaster. Here we go. We got the toaster. Plug that in. There we go. What I like to do is lay my bread out on a piece of paper towel, just like that. And what I do is I buy some ranch seasoning, and then I just use a little bit of cooking spray. This is olive oil cooking spray, okay? So olive oil cooking spray, ranch dressing, or I'm sorry, ranch seasoning. This is Badia all-purpose ranch seasoning. So what I do is I just sprinkle the ranch seasoning onto the high-protein keto Hawaiian bread, and then I give it a light spray with the cooking spray, and it's just to adhere the seasoning to the toast. It's not doing much besides that, and it also gives it a little bit of a nice restaurant kind of a finish, because you're adding a little bit of fat calories by doing this, but it's negligible, okay? So then we're gonna throw it in the toaster, and we're gonna let that do its thing. All right, so the toast is cooking. We have our macaroni and cheese pretty much good, ready to go. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna throw it in a bowl. I'll have my macaroni, have my toast, and then I'm gonna be ready to eat. Let's find a bowl. All right, that will do. Now, we're going back to first person view here. And again, I know this camera is not great. Maybe I'm just gonna zoom in from there, I don't know. But I like to basically split the skillet into 4 equal servings when I do this. If you're trying to conserve calories even more, you could make this into a 1/5. You can make this into like 5 slices if you want to, but I'm just gonna go with 4. And so I'm gonna take 1/4 of this skillet right now, and I'm gonna put it into this bowl. Oh, toast is done, excellent. So this is what's awesome. Like, I've got a pretty nice, like really generous serving here of macaroni and cheese. Like that's very, very generous when it comes to a serving size of this macaroni and cheese. And then I've got my beautiful ranch toast here, ready to go. Throw that in there. And I don't know if you can see this, but voila. Like this is an amazing high protein meal. With the toast, it comes out to be probably about 430 calories-ish. I don't know, I'll throw something up on the screen here just so you can see the actual macronutrients for this full dish. But it's less than 450 calories, almost certainly. And I probably got over 50 grams of protein here in this bowl. And it's macaroni and cheese and toast. Now, if I wanted to, some of you might say, well, Matt, like where are the veggies? Well, there's tomatoes and there's onions in there. Like, okay, cool. I could add a salad, side salad to this. I could add some roasted vegetables or something to this if I wanted, but this is just a perfect meal. So now, here's what's really cool. Now that I have this whole skillet of this macaroni and cheese made, I can very quickly, I have 3 more meals that I can throw together in like 3 minutes. with toast, chili, and I'm good to go. So anyway, wanted to take you guys on a quick little hang to make this, so good. Make this 6-ingredient, easy, high protein, chili macaroni and cheese. And now, I'm gonna go eat it. So if you guys found this valuable, kind of just a peek inside what's possible when it comes to cooking high protein recipes that don't feel like you're on a diet. And if you wanna see more of this stuff, tell me down below in the comments, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so YouTube knows that this isn't a completely crappy, it's a crappy cooking video, let's face it, but hopefully it's valuable in other ways. But let me know in the comments, like, I'm a geek when it comes to workshopping recipes. If there are recipes that you guys want me to take on to try to tweak and to make them healthier, tell me in the comments. I would love, like, challenge me with a recipe idea, and I'll see what I can do to create something like this, just like I did with the chili macaroni and cheese. Other than that, I'm gonna go eat. Hope this has been valuable. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, look at that. That is amazing. That's so good. So good. And it's real macaroni. It's not even like some like horrible god-awful pasta. It's really good. Awesome. Let's try the toast. Ranch toast. Crunchy. So good. Awesome. See you guys later.